let's look at the box score really quick. All right, and again, ladies and gentlemen, we're in preseason form. As we're working in new things, so please excuse us. But anyway, the Knicks were led by Emmanuel Quickly, 21 points, 3 assists. Early in the game, I don't know. I thought Emmanuel Quickly was taking too many shots. You know what I mean? Obviously he's the primary ball handler in that second unit, but I felt like he was taking I don't know. I felt like he was doing a little bit too much. Maybe it was the energy. You know what I'm saying? The energy of playing the first game of the season or whatever it is. But I felt like he needed to calm down just a little bit. I think in the second half he did better. Right? I feel like he played a little bit better in the second half. Was a little bit more relaxed and not just going crazy, taking every shot that he seen. Now, he ended up only taking 14 shots, right? But I felt like early in the game he was taking a lot of shots. But, that's Emmanuel Quickly, right? That's what Emmanuel Quickly is going to do. I think and hope that he'll settle in, though. Listen, he was 51% from the field and he was 40% from the three-point line.
Can't complain with it at that, right?
You can't argue too much about that, right? I thought the first unit was, Brunson started off playing well. He only played 5 minutes and 36 seconds. He was 4 for 5 from the field he had 10 points. He was 1 for 1 from the three-point line, 1 for 2 from the free throw line. Let's go with Julius Randle because Randle played 12 minutes, 11 points for Julius Randle, 4 rebounds. He was 3 for 4 from the 3 for 4 from the field, 1 for 2 from the three-point line. So, the starters, had a decent rhythm. RJ Barrett, 1 for 6 from the field, right?
So,
1 for 5 from the three-point line. But hey, hopefully he. We've had a lot of discussions about RJ and the fact that he needs to get off to a fast start. But let's hope that he's gonna get off. He's gonna get off to a better start. When the season actually gets on the road. You know what I'm saying? Actually gets moving. But I thought the first unit played well.
The yin and the yang, though, 9 for 9 from the free throw line, in that first half for RJ. So I'll live with 1 for 6 and slow start. I think he picked it up in the second in the brief minutes in the second half. So I'll live with that. If you're hitting 9 for 9, if you get into the line 9 times in a half, you know what I mean, and hitting all of them, I'll live with the the shakiness, because that right there was impressive to me.
No, that was good. I mean? That was good. 9 for 9 from the free throw line.
And it looked good.
Yeah.
The shot looked good.
No doubt about that. That's what you need. That's definitely what you need. I mean, all in all, it was the epitome of a preseason game. What can you say? It was preseason basketball at its finest. You know what I'm saying? Some sloppy stuff going on. Guys that hadn't played together out there on the court, not really looking like they're in sync. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's what you come to expect from a preseason game, and that's what it was. It was a pure preseason game tonight. You know what I mean? And, down the end of the game, you got to see some of the super subs. You know what I'm saying? Not super subs, but he went super deep into the bench. You know what I mean? He went super deep into the bench. You got to see Jacob Toppin, Nathan Knight. You know what I mean? So
it's not super subs. It's situ subs.
The super situational subs. You know what I mean? Let me get a quick phone call in from my man Lauren from Cali. Lauren, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
What's going on?
I'm good.
First of all, how y'all doing? Health, family, everybody good?
Yes, sir. Everybody's doing good, man. Appreciate you.
All right. So, first preseason, Everything is all good. I just called to say one thing, though, because y'all laughed at me during the offseason when I mentioned that Mutombo thing. When I said RJ from 3 is not an open shot. Tony tried to correct me, and he says maybe not. It's not that it's not an open shot. Maybe it's just not a good shot. No. I know exactly what I'm saying. RJ from 3 is not an open shot. No matter who's not there, if it's him alone in the gym, it's not an open shot. Why am I bringing this up?
Yeah.
I have a question for y'all. I'm going to mention 2 players, and I want to know what y'all think, who's better at what when I mention these 2 players. Prime CJ McCollum or RJ Barrett? Who's a better shooter?
I mean,
CJ.
I guess I would say CJ.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Who has a higher basketball IQ? CJ or RJ Barrett?
IQ?
Yes.
Today or CJ at RJ's age?
No, prime. The prime CJ.
I mean, are you saying RJ has reached his prime yet, though?
No. I'm asking a specific question.
Okay, so
RJ right now,
CJ,
or the best CJ McCollum? CJ. Okay.
CJ.
Okay. Better ball control, better playmaker, all CJ McCollum, right? Here's why I'm saying this. Because in order for us to, I know it's just the preseason, but I've seen all I need to see already for this season, and I know exactly how the season is going to go. It's basically the same as last year. And I bring up CJ McCollum because in order for us to do anything better than last season, either RJ Barrett, Quentin Grimes, or Emmanuel Quickley has to give us it as the confidence the Blazers will have in somebody like CJ McCollum. Like, one of them has to produce as consistently well as a CJ McCollum, because I know it's just preseason, but I've already seen the glitches that I need to see that have not changed. RJ Barrett still can't handle the ball. He still bricks layups. I'm glad he actually gets to the free throw line and makes his free throws. He shot 2 air balls. It's the same thing as last season. We could already see Julius Randle still can't control the ball, dribbling. It's not that big of a deal. We'll still have a successful season, but nothing's going to change from last season, though. And I could already see it clearly. Nothing's going to change. Nothing.
Okay. Well, I'm going to allow the preseason to pass and the season to start before I make any of those.
But why is it always that for RJ, though? Why is it always something is going to improve for RJ when it's the same thing all the time?
Bro, it is the preseason. It is game 1. He played like 15 minutes. 5. You know what I'm saying? When the first game gets here, and if he does this in the first game, call me and complain about it then. Because I'm gonna let the preseason pass first.
Why do we keep giving excuses for this guy, though?
What excuse? What excuse? I am going to let the preseason pass. That's all that I said. I didn't give him any excuses for anything.
No.
I'm going to let the preseason pass and let the regular season begin.
So here's what you're saying.
That's what I'm going to do.
We cannot expect a player in year 5 to be able to make layups in the preseason. That's what you're saying.
I am going to allow this preseason to pass and let the regular season begin. Bruh. It is game 1 in preseason. You can go across the league. I can guarantee you can go across the league and see other players who are better and worse than RJ.
I can guarantee you
did not shoot the ball well.
I can guarantee you the only player that you can go across the league and see a wing that bricks as many layups as RJ Barrett is Russell Westbrook.
I'm going to say it one more time. You can go across the league and you will see plenty of players in their first preseason game, better and worse than RJ, who went 1 for 6 or worse.
Layups.
Okay, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, it's too early in the season to start bashing somebody. I'm sorry.
Nah,
you got to chill. You got to chill.
Come on.
You got to chill. It's too early in the season to start bashing somebody.
It's not. Seriously. But why is it a bash, though? Why is it a bash? Why is it?
I mean, you called up here basically to say RJ sucks. He's not better than CJ McCollum in his prime.
No.
That's what you called up here for. You're not even letting the freaking lights go off at MSG in the first preseason game before you bugging out.
I'm not bugging. I'm not bugging up because this is the same thing we constantly say about the same guy.
Call me back after game one. That's all I'm going to say. Call me back after game one. And if he does it again, cool. But come on. It's the first. He played 15 minutes. He played 15 minutes in the first preseason game. Can we get to game one?
3 layups.
Can we get to game one? Can we please get to game one?
I'm going to hold you to that.
Hold me to that, please. Call me up on game one. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Please. Lauren, I appreciate it, man.
Oh, man, the season's here.
The
season is here. He was holding that all off season, I'm assuming.
Oh, boy.
That was built up.
we just getting started. We just getting started. Just getting started. RJ Barrett, 1 for 6 from the field, ladies and gentlemen. That's the anger that Lauren was spewing about, because RJ Barrett was 1 for 6 from the field. Tony was okay with it being 9 for 9 from the free throw line, though. No mention of that. I'll tell you what I did like that I seen. And I don't care if Lauren from Cali gets mad or not. I like the fact that I seen the first play of the game, the first shot that RJ took, he drove to his right and then pulled the floater up with the left. I like that. That's the type of thing that I'm looking to see. Is he perfect? No. Hopefully he can grow. But, my goodness. My goodness gracious. Coley, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Sim, it's Spree. What's up?
Spree, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
No, you gotta say, call and tell him why you mad.
So, shout out to Tony Crow and Josh. That caller was funny, man. You got some funny callers calling, and I think I'm pretty entertaining. But he was good. He's ready. He's ready to go.
That's yeah. I mean, it's still over there. It's still early over there in Cali.
I'm not panicking. I can't panic over RJ's field goal percentage in the preseason game. If he shoots, let me assess RJ's first 5 to 10 games in the regular season. I'm encouraged he got to the line 9 times. We can celebrate that. Let's be positive here. 1 for 6. It's a preseason game. I'm not worried about RJ right now. I appreciate him making that comment. It's fair, but I thought the first unit looked good, Sim. I thought it was a lot more of the same, though. Which is fine. Brunson pick and roll is very dangerous. That's what Brunson does. Randall, he got a couple good ISOs. He made a couple quick decisions. He had 1 turnover. I was fine with the starting unit. You agree?
Yeah, I was cool with the starting unit. I think I enjoyed watching Brunson and Mitchell Robinson do a little bit of work together, right? Off the screen and roll. There was one possession, Brunson found him for an alley-oop. Next possession, off the screen and roll, Brunson goes to the basket. The defender stays with Mitchell Robinson. Brunson goes up. So, I was cool with that. I like that.
I don't like the Sims at the 4 thing. I know he wanted to see some minutes. I'm not saying this is what Thibs should do. He should be experimenting, so I can't hate on it. Did you like that? I really didn't like it.
Got to see more of it. I don't know. You know what I mean? Okay. I was watching it to see, all right, where are they going to be able to go? Where are they going to be able to move to? And I'm not sure because of the spacing. It's a little bit difficult because of the spacing, I think. So I definitely want to, got to see more of it. Got to see if, does he figure out a way to solve the spacing issue? I think that's a little bit difficult. I think that's going to be difficult to solve that spacing issue.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I agree with you. I'll see more of it. I'm not going to hate on it right now. I'll probably watch it again. I didn't love it tonight, but Dante, to me, it took him the second half. He looked good, Dante. I thought the first half it looked, guys were juggling. It was a preseason game. So, the second half, Dante made some shots. He made a nice pass to Hartenstein in transition. Mm-hmm. He's going to help this team. Grimes, I didn't love Grimes tonight. I would have loved to have seen a little bit more of but I'm not going to panic and overreact. It was 22 minutes. When Evan immediately got in the game, Sim, they went on a 10-0 run. I don't blame Evan for that. I know Knicks fans will. I mean, nobody was playing defense. I mean, I think, you know what happened, Tim? This is what I think happened. When Evan got in the game, they wanted to troll Evan, so they gave the Celtics 10 points. But right after that, Evan started making threes, so I was cool with it.
Who wanted to troll Evan?
I don't know, man. Just like I have this weird thing with Evan where immediately when he gets in the game, usually the other team scores like 3 or 4 baskets in a row. And then the world goes back into place and things settle down, and then Evan gets buckets. I don't know.
No,
I was happy for Evan, man. He made a couple shots.
Okay, I'm just saying. You said they wanted to troll Evan. Were you saying that the players wanted to troll Evan? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I just feel like whenever somebody was trolling with that one, I don't know. It's just like the basketball gods. When Evan got in there, you know, the comments about him, he's like, I can blank play, you know, the comments. So the fact that he gets in the game and literally the Celtics go on a 10-0 run, I'm just saying somebody higher above just was making a statement there. But then, look, to be fair, I thought Evan actually made some good passes. What did he have? He had 1 assist, but I thought he made threes. He spaced the floor. Evan can make shots. Okay.
Yeah.
He's not a good defender.
I mean, the reason why I'm asking you the reason why I'm asking you that question is because when I was watching the game, like that literally went through my mind. You know what I'm saying? that went through my mind like, dag, as soon as he got in the game, 10-point lead went away.
I mean, it's funny how basketball works like that, but like, I don't know, man. Evan will be all right. You know, injuries happen. I think he could get in there if guys get hurt. I don't think Thibs' opinion hasn't changed on the guy, but I appreciate him getting preseason minutes. I'll just leave you with this, man. Mitch looked really good. I thought Hartenstein looked good. I mean, I don't know. I thought Obi's younger brother gave some energy, so I was actually impressed with Mr. Toppin. But Quickly looked good. I'll give Quickly his flowers. He played well. I'm going to just leave you with this, man. I don't want to panic on RJ's performance tonight. I'll go back and watch it, to be fair to the other caller, who was very funny, by the way. I hope that caller calls back in the regular season. But, Sim, have a good night. I'm going to listen, and this just gives us a baseline. I'm going to use a Thibs quote. Hang in there.
I don't even know if it gives us a baseline.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
it
was.
Well, he always says that.
You know, the starters I think played well, but I felt like the game was kind of all over the place.
Are you going to go back and watch it? Or you're not?
Yeah, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it again.
Okay.
But I felt like it was all over the place. You know, just felt like it was all over the place, and that's going to happen when you're using lineups and putting out guys out there that don't normally play together. It's going to be kind of all over the place.
Is there anything tonight, Tim, before I let you go? And this is also to Tony Crow or Josh. Like, is there anything tonight that you like? I know it's a preseason game and you can't take much, but is there something that you really is new that you were shocked by, or anything I missed?
The only thing that I would say, and I was gonna, talk about this in when I got to the takeaway portion, but we can still talk about it. In the fourth quarter, I thought Isaiah Hartenstein did a really good job having the ball at the top of the key and guys cutting to the basket, and he would find them. He found Evan Fournier. He found Miles McBride, and I think Tom Thibodeau needs to utilize that a lot more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I thought that looked pretty good.
All right, man. Well, look, I'm happy basketball's back. I ain't going to panic about RJ, man. I'll panic about RJ in the first 5 games of the regular season when this thing is for real. That's when I'm supporting RJ. Got to the line 9 times, like my man Tony Crow said. So it's a good night. You have a good one, my man.
Appreciate it, Spree. Appreciate it. All right. Josh, what's popping with you, man?
Salute, fellas. Salute. Good game. Salute to the cat out there, Tony. Wow. My takeaways from this game. So first thing, and the biggest thing that I was looking forward to seeing is Dante DiVincenzo, obviously, right? And kind of similar to Lawrence's thoughts, not necessarily about the RJ thing. I think that was kind of premature to talk about RJ in preseason game number 1 or anybody's performance specifically in a preseason game, the first one I might add. But I think Lauren is correct in the assessment that I think it's going to be a lot of the same, right? Dante DiVincenzo, the way I kind of saw him being used tonight, how the Knicks were getting their shots with him, the same dribble handoff action that they did with Evan Fournier, right? Catch and shoot, spot ups, that type of thing, the same thing that they used for Quentin Grimes. And that's the kind of role that I envisioned Dante DiVincenzo would have when he came here. Now, him missing shots in the first half, I'm not really worried about that. I think shoot. He'll snap out of that real quick and he'll be able to knock those shots down. But as far as how the Knicks are going to get their shots with him, it's going to be more the same in that regard with Dante DiVincenzo. He's not going to be a guy who is going to get his game off pull-up game. He's not going to do that. He's not going to drop to the basket and find open people, on a three-point line, which is how the Knicks run their offense.
I actually disagree. Also, I think as he gets a little more used to the offense right now, obviously Emmanuel quickly was had the ball in his hands and it was heavy. Emmanuel quickly, because he knew what Tom Thibodeau wanted. He knew where to tell people where to go, so on and so forth. Dante DiVincenzo being with the group for just 1 week, I don't think is there yet. And I think as he gets more used to the offense, I think you're going to see his role being expanded.
I mean, yeah, hopefully. I mean, that's the thing. I mean,
I've seen little pieces, especially in the second half, when he got a little bit more comfortable, where he get the ball off the backboard and would advance the ball up the floor. A couple of times when he come off of a screen and roll, and those little things right there will increase more and more and more as he understands a little bit more about the offense and how it works.
So him bringing the ball up off the backboard, that was something I also was going to add. But to me, that has nothing to do with how necessarily Knicks are going to run their offense in the half court, right? Because he can bring the ball up and then the Knicks can go into whatever play they're trying to run in the half court. So him bringing the ball up, I mean, and that's good. Okay, yeah, we got another guy who can bring the ball up.
Right.
But overall, for majority of the times when the Knicks are going to get their offense in half court, I mean, me and you disagree on this, and I guess we'll see. In this preseason game, I didn't really get a feel for that side of it. So we still have to wait and see. In regards to the spacing, like you mentioned, I totally agree with you with the spacing with Jericho Sims out there at the four, as the four. I think the one way for the Knicks to kind of work themselves out of that is what you mentioned about Isaiah Hartenstein, having him be that focal point and be the facilitator in that style of offense when you have Hartenstein out there with the Mitchell Robinson or Jericho Sims, instead of having Jericho Sims go to the corner, because Jericho Sims is not looking at the rim, right? So I think spacing can be improved in that aspect. Also, when we get Josh Hart back and RJ Barrett, and if you want and putting those guys at the backup for, having them expanded roles with the ball in their hands in that type of lineup, right? Because I think the spacing will improve and you have people kind of work off of them in that sort of lineup. So I'm interested to see how Thibs is going to adjust to us not having a quote-unquote backup four. I think that's a way we can kind of get around that. And I'm glad that he used Isaiah Hartenstein as some of those sets where Isaiah Hartenstein was the facilitator. Outside of that, yeah, preseason game number 1 is going to be a little sloppy. And, they'll get it right.
Hey, Tony, your thoughts on anything Josh just said?
Well, I both of you pointed out the spacing with Sims at the 4, which there were definitely moments where it seemed a little cluttered or like they were going to bump into each other, or him and Mitchell Robinson. But I'll say this: defensively, they looked great together on the floor. Sims in particular at the 4 with Hartenstein and with Mitchell Robinson. They had some good defensive moments. And Sims, I've seen him. He's really able to move his feet. You know what I mean? Like, so he could actually guard on the perimeter very well for his size. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting if it is utilized. I think we only saw it tonight because Hart wasn't here, but or because Hart didn't play. So I don't think it's going to be a automatic staple in the offense, but I think it is something that we can utilize, and we might need to utilize defensively against some of the bigger teams in the league that have 2 bigs, right. Milwaukee being one of them.
Right. Tony, so a team, let's say a team, because I think the NBA is kind of moving away from that model of the double big front court, right? They're going with a lot more of like a smaller guys. When I say smaller, I mean guys who can actually dribble the ball. Like before Boston got Porzingis, they had Tatum at the 4, right? A lot of, around the league, Aaron Gordon at the 4 in Denver. Around the league, you're going to see a lot of these guys, a lot of these teams play some of their best ball handlers at the 4. And that's what I think the Knicks are going to kind of run into trouble. Yeah, defensively at the rim, Jericho Sims and Mitch or Hartenstein or whatever, I think that's going to be good for us underneath. But on the perimeter, as we start to play some of these smaller teams that are a lot more athletic at that 4 position, I think that's when the Knicks are kind of going to run into problems. Sims, even though he's quick with his feet, he is also still slow.
That's when you wouldn't use it. I'm only speaking specifically against bigger lineups. It's useful to have it in your toolbox.
Yeah.
And if Thibs is familiar with it, he'll be more likely to try it out, in a situation.
Yeah, I think I don't think that's the only reason why Thibs went to it tonight, though. Right? I think he already had the plan that I'm gonna try out this lineup and see how it looks. You know what I mean? See how the spacing looks. See if there are things that we can do with this lineup. I think. I was surprised because I expected to see Jericho Sims with Isaiah Hartenstein, right? But I didn't expect to see him out there with Mitchell Robinson, right? So I was definitely surprised there.
And he did it with 3 ball handlers.
And he did it, and he did it with 3 ball handlers, right? So trying to offset, too much size, because if you have those 2 guys out there with a RJ, that might be a little bit too much space that's being, that you just can't get around. You know what I'm saying? So I think he tried to utilize those smaller ball handlers so that you can have a little bit more space on the court. But I think the spacing just comes with those 2 guys, not being able to shoot the ball. I mean, you seen Jericho Sims pull up jump shot out of desperation because the shot clock was running out. You know what I mean? So I was looking to see, okay, they did this. Is Jericho Sims going to take a couple of shots here and there, or either one of them? And neither one of them did. You know what I'm saying? Neither one of them did. So, I don't know. That's going to be I guess we just watch it and see how it develops, if it develops. You know what I mean? He may do it, I think, a few more times before he makes a decision on it, I guess. If he thinks it's going to be useful. But I guess the fact that they used it, and if he tries it a few more times, like you said, if you get in a situation where you need it, he may not be afraid to go to it. You know what I mean? May not be afraid to go to it. Now, I will say that I think the fact that Evan Fournier played so much was really due to Josh Hart not being there. You know what I mean? I think he ate up Josh Hart's minutes. He had 11 points, 3 rebounds. He played 20 minutes and 49 seconds tonight, 4 for 10 from the field, 3 for 7 from the 3-point line. Your thoughts on Evan Fournier? Tony, I'll start with you, then I'll come to Josh.
One, it was nice to see him out there. You know what I mean? Same thoughts. Rocky's start to 10-0 run when he gets put on the floor. I was like, oh, here we go. You know what I mean? He about to get pulled and not play anymore. But Thibs stuck with him and gave him a fair look, whether it means anything moving forward or not. At least, like, that's all I really wanted, for him to get a fair opportunity, especially in a situation like this where, the starters ain't coming back in, Josh Hart is out. Like, that's all you could do to make as a player, you know what I mean? Like, if you're in that situation, all right, I got my fair opportunity and to show what I did, whether, you know what I mean, whether you liked your performance or not, you had that shot. So, nothing outstanding. I also wanted him to play against Boston because it seemed like those were the games he had good games last year, or historically against the with the Knicks. So he should always play against Boston. I'll say that.
Yeah. Josh?
Sim Tony, I think it's fool's gold. But we're not seeing Evan Fournier in the regular season. I think him being out there, I mean, it's a good thing. Probably to calm him down a bit, might ease his nerves or something like that. But listen, there's no way I don't see Evan Fournier cracking this rotation during the regular season.
I don't either.
I mean, I expected him to, shoot. That's what he does. Shoot the ball well. Cool, knock down some shots. But outside of that, I mean, I think the writing's on the wall. We already know what's going to happen with Evan Fournier during the season. I don't think there's any chance that he gets in that rotation, even with some injuries.
Right.
But like you said, just calm that storm a little bit. You know what I mean? Like now.
I don't think that was really a storm, Tony.
I mean, we don't gotta hear a comment. I mean, we don't gotta hear a comment. I mean, he could be like, "I told you, I still got it."
Right.
But you know what I mean? Like, just quiet him down a little bit for a couple of days.
I don't really feed into that. I don't think that's much of a storm. I mean, he's a veteran guy that wants to get out there on the floor. I mean, I don't think there's really any. I don't think that situation is truly a big deal. I don't think it's anything that could even be detrimental to whatever the Knicks got going on. Not even that little small thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not really looking at it that way. But yeah, maybe it does calm down and all that stuff. But I don't think it matters.
I think that it, at the very least, I think it. If there's any questions by any possible trade partners as to whether or not he can play in the NBA, you know what I mean? Maybe this helps them to see, okay, yeah, he can, he still has something to give. I don't think anybody was worried about that. I think everybody knows that Evan Fournier can still play basketball. You know what I mean? But, it is possible that some people looked at it and say, okay, yep, we could use an Evan Fournier. But still, for the most part, I don't think Evan Fournier is getting any burn this year without there being some major injuries. I mean, I really do think it was just because Josh Hart wasn't playing today, so Tom Thibodeau gave him the nod. I really do think it's that simple. And by giving him the nod, you do kind of, you can say, hey, we gave him a shot. We put him out there on the floor. You know what I mean? And maybe that's the reason why Josh Hart didn't play, because it wasn't due to injury. You know what I mean? It wasn't due to injury. So maybe that's the reason he didn't play. I don't know. But
I think Evan Fournier would have to be a sucker to believe that the Knicks are doing that, like to try to give him a shot. Like, he would have to be a sucker. There's no way Evan Fournier, he has to know he's not going to play in the regular season.
He knows.
I don't think it means a shot per se, but still, this is a situation in which you would play. You know what I mean? If Hart is out again, like, this might be the time where we see you.
But
it keeps it like as a real situation. I don't know.
I think it's kind of like this. Not that, he's believing that he's going to play, but kind of like, Ev, you're not in our plans, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to change my mind. So I'm going to put you on the floor. And if you can change my mind, go ahead. I think it's something like that. You know what I mean? I have respect for you as a player, so I'm going to give you the opportunity to change my mind. But just know it's going to be a hard thing to do. Something like that. And he's like, all right, well, let me do. I mean, he was trying to play some defense. I give it to you. He was trying to play some D. Go ahead, Tony.
I mean, I was just saying he in a tough situation.
It's a tough spot.
Because, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to turn it down, especially after saying, oh, I could play, I still got it, You know what I mean? So you got to take whatever brief opportunity, you got to take them. You know what I mean? Like, it could be garbage time. Maybe that's when he sees minutes, but he's going to have to take it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and as hard as it, as dumb as it may sound, he still has to perform in those moments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's a tough situation to be in, knowing you got to perform at all times.
Anytime you step on the floor.
Anytime
you step on the floor.
Circumstance.
Anytime you step on the floor. Yeah.
Garbage time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The Knicks, ladies and gentlemen.
Reliving a rookie year or something.
Right. The Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, beat the Celtics 114-107 in preseason. The Celtics had their 6 top players not playing tonight. Jalen Brunson played 6 minutes. RJ Barrett played 15 minutes. Julius Randle played 12 minutes. So, there's a lot of bench guys played. A lot of guys looking for spots in the NBA got a chance to play tonight. The Celtics out-rebounded the Knicks 59-53. The Knicks had 24 assists, 19 for the Celtics. Both teams with 7 steals, 7 blocks for the Knicks, 3 for the Celtics. The Knicks only 13 turnovers. The Celtics were 17. The Knicks shot 45% from the field. The Celtics shot 42.6% from the field. Neither team shot well from 3. The Knicks 31%. The Celtics 25%. The Knicks 76% from the free throw line. The Celtics 79% from the free throw line. Points in the paint, the Knicks 48, the Celtics 50. Second chance point, the Celtics 23, the Knicks 8. Fast break points, the Boston Celtics 10, the New York Knicks 6 fast break points on the night. I got a couple other guys I want to ask about. Let me get to his phone call first, then we can get to that. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Yo, Wild West, calling from Brooklyn, New York. How you feeling, Sim?
I'm good, my brother.
Crow? How y'all doing?
I'm good, man. How you feeling, worldwide?
Magnificent, man. Magnificent. Can't complain. I'm so happy that the next season is back underway. Now we can get back to it.
No doubt about it, man.
I hate to dull the mood, but I just by my nature and my PTSD, I'm sort of not an optimist. I'm a little bit of a pessimist. And I need a reason for me to, flip the way I'm thinking. But I'm going to start off with the whole Evan Fournier thing.
Okay.
Thibs got a blueprint for what he does. When somebody think they should be in a rotation and they should not be in a rotation. Remember Dennis Smith Jr.?
Mm-hmm.
Remember he was starting Dennis Smith Jr. He said, I'm going to let you play so you can understand that you don't belong in the rotation.
Right.
So that's what he's doing to Evan Fournier. You want to talk? Okay, go play 23 minutes for a couple of games. You will understand that you're not supposed to be in a rotation. It's just like there's other guys who were behind him last year who they may not be as good as a shooter as him, but their effectiveness into translating to winning games and being team players is what, they add to the team that Evan doesn't. So, that's going to kind of work itself out. And I like him. I like his personality. He hopped on a couple of, podcasts for us and he made himself, I like him, but, it's about wins and he can't provide that. So, on to the next one.
Hey, worldwide, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this real quick.
Go ahead.
What is it that Fournier, we know the defense, right? But what else is it, do you think, about Fournier that is preventing him from getting on the floor or does not allow the team to play at their best when he's out there, do you think?
I don't think it's more Evan Fournier than it is Tom Thibodeau.
Okay.
I don't think Thibodeau is using Evan Fournier to his strengths, and I don't feel that Thibodeau sees a reason to change or tweak the offensive structure to fit Fournier because I don't think he feels Fournier is good enough. Even you're not going to, revolve the offense around Fournier in order for him to excel, at the detriment of team basketball. If you look at all the other stops that he played in besides Boston, that short stint, he was kind of the go-to guy on losing teams, and they played around his skill set and the teams were trash in Orlando, so you're not going to do that on the Knicks. I think that he's using him as a spot-up shooter when Fournier's more of an off-the-dribble guy. He needs to get into the rhythm. He needs to come off pin downs, go into the rim to then open up his jump shot and play freely. He needs a lot of touches, and you're not going to get that on the Knicks because you got Randall and you got Brunson and you got RJ who are more effective at those areas. Even RJ, he's not a great shooter, but he creates havoc and he gets to the line. So he can control the pace of the game better than Evan Fournier at this stage of his career. I think, that's just kind of passed him by. On a different team, He can be off the bench role player, you know, but that's a team that has superstars. You put him on the Suns, he might be effective. You know, you put him in Milwaukee off the bench, he might be effective. But here, we don't have superstars that can carry us enough that can allow a player like that to get the type of minutes that he wants to get. You need guys who are, like you said, besides defense, which defense is super important. So that's a huge component as to why he's not going to see court playing time. That's just how it is. Nature of the beast. Love the guy, but, you know, moving right along.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm worried about, and I know it's early, I shouldn't be worrying, I just don't see us. I never saw us doing what we did last year. And I'm not saying it was a fluke. It definitely wasn't a fluke because we repeated it over and over each game. We were preparing ourselves for 6-game losing streaks, and we did not see 6-game losing streaks. If we did, we bounced right back and won 6 in a row. But I don't think we improved enough in the off season. And I do think that playing Jericho Sims for 70, 80 games at the backup power forward, even if there's just 10 to 15 minutes, and not having anybody who's on the wing, who's long, 6'8", 6'7", 6'9", who can penetrate. I think those are two glaring holes, and that's completely going the opposite way of the NBA. If you look at 6 players, these 6 players being DiVincenzo, Grimes, Quickly, all of our guards, 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", all have very similar games. On any given team, these guys could be rotation players, but who's really better than who? They're all pretty much even, and they're all inconsistent. You have a lot of redundancy, and I felt that you had to, or it would have been a wise move to pick up a wing somehow, some way on some team. A guy who's 6'8", 6'7". I don't think RJ is long enough to play the 3 effectively, right, on most nights. I think that's a big reason why he does miss layups. He's going against guys who have that extra 2 inches, 3 inches on him and some athleticism, which he doesn't. If you watch the games in slow motion, I'm a weirdo, so I do things like this. RJ will start his layup from below the net. He can get over the rim, but for some reason, when he does his layup, he is under the rim and under the net. He's starting like he's 6'2", and it's just not catapulting to the rim the way it's supposed to, and it's getting blocked, right? I'm not coming at RJ like the other caller did, like you said. You said give it to game 1. I'm going to give it to game 21, right? I'm going to give it to game 21, and then I'm going to see where RJ is at that point. I think he is the most important X factor on the team because you know what you're going to get from Jalen. You know what you're going to get from Julius. You're going to get spotty shooting from Grimes. Hopefully he can be a 38 to 40% three-point shooter as the season progresses, right? But it's RJ who's really that X factor who's in the starting lineup. Mitch is steady at a rock. You know what you're going to get from him. The fluctuation in RJ's game is either going to make us an above-average team or below average team. Okay. And I can't say he's shown enough for me to have faith, but I'm going to sit and watch. Go ahead. You sound like you wanted to say something.
No. I was just saying, I was just agreeing with you about RJ being, a major X factor for this season.
Absolutely. I think he is the major X factor. I do like the pickup of DiVincenzo, but again, it's a lot of redundancy. If you have Quickly, where are we going to get minutes for these guys? And then I don't like the whole idea of playing a player 16 to 22 minutes because you can't get your juices flowing in 16 minutes, right? Look at Quickly. He started off slow in the first half, right? But because Brunson only played 6 minutes, Josh Hart didn't play, he came off and had a burst in the second half. If you have Josh Hart in the game and you have Brunson playing, then maybe Quickly doesn't get those minutes and he doesn't find his rhythm, and it's not a 22-point game, right? Yeah. These little spurts that Quickly had throughout last season, right? Quickly was one of our most important players last season. I know he didn't play well in the playoffs, but he was a very, very vital piece on that team. And it didn't always happen in the first or second quarter. A lot of times it happened in the third quarter, early in the fourth quarter, and because he was getting those minutes. I don't like the fact that we're going to be taking minutes away from Quickly. We have to make a decision, consolidate certain pieces.
See, I don't think minutes go away from Quickly. I think Quickly is one of Tom Thibodeau's guys. I don't think minutes go away from Quickly. I think minutes maybe get shaved from some other areas, but not from Quickly. Or, some of these guys don't play as much. I don't think the Jericho Sims at backup power forward is going to be a staple of this team. This team's rotation. I think it's going to be Josh Hart, right, who's playing at that position. And personally, I'm not really a big fan of 6'4" power forwards playing in the NBA, but I think that's what they're going to go with this year. I don't think you're going to see Jericho Sims. I think the backup is going to be, when it's all said and done, I think RJ is going to be in that lineup with that second unit. Jericho Sims, depending on who we're playing, I think will play some situational minutes, but I don't think it's going to be a staple. And so I think that is going to open up so that there's more room to make sure that Quickly doesn't lose his minutes. I think he still gets his 28, I'll say 25 to 28 minutes a game.
That would be fair. That's a fair number. 28 to 32 minutes a game is fair for Quickly. I think he's our third best player on the team, so you have to find a way not to steal minutes from him.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I think Donte DiVincenzo kind of brings something that a lot of the players don't have. Like he's a highly skilled player.
Mm-hmm.
He can really dribble. He can really pass. He can really shoot.
And he's.
I don't think he could play a backup. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and he's got a good basketball IQ. I don't think he's not a guy that's going to make a lot of mistakes out there on the floor.
He's not.
I think there's an argument that can be said that the Villanova boys should start. I don't know if it's something that should be done immediately, but I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the season or middle of the season, those three guys are starting. And it's not because they Villanova. I think it's because they might just be the best fit.
You think all three of them start
the best
together?
Chemistry, yeah. That's
Josh
interesting.
Hart,
That's interesting.
DiVincenzo, and Brunson.
I don't think that I think Grimes' defense is really, really, really good. I think he's even underrated as a defensive player, and he's regarded as a good defensive player. I think he's a great defensive player. And I think that element, if you look how he guards, point guards, shooting guards, he really, really frustrates them. It's only guys who are bigger than him, 6'8" guys, that give him a problem. If he locks down point guards, I've seen him do it to John Morant. I've seen him do it to a lot of point guards last year and shooting guards. So I think that component of his game, Thibs will live and die with his shooting being a little streaky. Because when he's on, he goes on like a 4 or 5 game streak of shooting well. When he's off, he'll take like 2-3 games off. So we'll live with the seesaw shooting from him as long as his defense is a constant and it's transferring to wins. I think that element is going to keep him as a starter. The only way he's going to lose his position is if he gets injured for an extended period of time, DiVincenzo steps in, and we play well. I think at that point, Thibs probably will be reluctant to insert him back into the game, but there's a lot of ifs there. I don't see him eclipsing him. I see one or two things happening. Either we consolidate pieces before the trade deadline and pick up a player, and then the rotation kind of works itself out, or I see frustration being built amongst players because they're not getting enough minutes, and then we consolidate pieces next off season and we make a change. I see, I don't really see anybody getting replaced in the starting lineup. I think, and Thibs is not really a guy. Once he finds his go-to guys, like, he kind of leans on them through thick and thin. He will live and die by the guys he believes in. Yeah. It's not like he's being forced with Evan Fournier to play Evan Fournier or play guys who are not Cam Reddish. Those are not his type of players. right? So if he's being forced by management to play these guys and they're not doing well, of course he'll revert back to what he does best. But right now he's playing guys that he feels very safe with, and I just don't see him going away from that.
Nah, I agree with you. Hey, Worldwide, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Anytime, man. Big time listener. Love the show. Love how it's growing. You know what I mean? I would love to, kind of be on a panel one of these days with Tony and these fellas,
Nah,
if you
we welcome you,
kind,
bro.
but I'll shoot you an email.
Doubt. Yeah, no doubt about it. We welcome you.
A+ caller.
Yeah, no
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, bro. Peace.
Enjoy your night.
Let me ask you guys this. How'd you guys feel about the rotations tonight? I mean, obviously it was all over the place, right? But you can't even look, Julius Randle went out with 6 minutes. He came back at the top of the second quarter with about 10 minutes and 40 seconds left. I don't know if that's going to be the way that Tom Thibodeau looks to roll with the rotation or anything like that. But did you see anything? Let me ask it that way. Did you see anything about the rotation, at least the first quarter into the second quarter, that made you say, okay, I like this, I like that?
Nah, not for me, Sam. I mean, no, Jalen Brunson only played, 6 minutes tonight?
6 minutes.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really difficult for me to say, particularly the part of the rotation where we're talking about the guards and all those 6'4" and below guards is really difficult for us to be able to really find it out as of right now, because Hart wasn't there. Brunson only played 6 minutes. So there wasn't anything that I saw that I can really pinpoint and say, okay, I like this or I don't like it, because we didn't have all of our people there.
Yeah. I think I'm in agreement with you, Tony.
I mean, I'll go back to I'd like Sims on the floor, at the 4. I like the fact that Thibs tried it. I like what I saw periodically. Like, it wasn't perfect, but I like the fact that we got glimpses of it with him and Mitchell Robinson, which really shocked me. But with him and Hartenstein, which I think we'll probably see that more before we see him and Mitchell Robinson. But just the fact that we saw it, I thought it was like a pleasant surprise, because he didn't have to do it. You know what I mean? So the fact that he's looking at it I think it means something.
I definitely think it means something, the fact that he's looking at it. It's hard to say how much he's going to use it for sure. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that he's looking at it, I think, means it's somewhere up here. He's trying to figure out how to use it and when to use it, right? Because I think when to use it is going to be one of the big keys with that supposed lineup. I don't know. I think if you're going to use it, use those guys to set a lot of double screens on the ball, right? Because now, you have, say, if Mitchell, either one of those guys sets the first screen, and then you have the second screen, and the ball handler comes off, one of those guys rolls to the basket. One of the screeners rolls to the basket. The other guy
like
pops out.
Spain pick and roll type of action.
Then the other guy pops out, and even though he's not a shooter, because you had that double screen, they're not going to be able to clog that area. You know what I mean? Because they set that double screen. So I think if you're going to use both of them, that may be a way to open up space for them to both be there, is do a lot of double screening from wherever you're going to set that double screen. But do a lot of double screening, and you may be able to get your guards open to penetrate to the basket. You may be able to get some of those corner threes wide open to be able to, hopefully knock those down. But I'm not. I just don't see that it's going to be a staple, at least not right now. They've got to figure it out if they're going to figure it out at all.
Yeah, Sam, I agree. I think Thibs need to figure out some actions to what to do with that particular lineup on the floor. I mean, like I said, my suggestion is, which I think we could have been using a lot more, is turn Isaiah Hartenstein into a passer. Run a lot more off-ball action to get some of these people open. Donte DiVincenzo, really good. Golden State and Milwaukee. running off-ball action, right? You can get some of these guys going to the rim, particularly that younger, faster, more agile type of guards. Get those guards in movement. And I think we can create a lot of stuff that way. Outside of that, it's going to be difficult with the spacing with these guys. You know what I'm saying? And when I say put Isaiah Hartenstein and make him the passer, put him at the 4 and do that, and have Sims kind of cut off of that. I've seen the Knicks try to do a little bit of cutting backdoor with Sims at the baseline, trying to do that, but he kind of fumbled the ball or whatever. But I think that's something that can be open if we actually use it right.
Yeah, and they got to look and see. I seen at least one time when he was pointing up in the air. You know what I mean? And, the ball went to another location. And, those type of things, especially with the way the lineups were tonight, I mean, they were all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, there wasn't going to be much continuity once they really get that lineup together. Hopefully you start to see, more continuity. It's the second unit right now that's in flux, not the first unit. Second unit was kind of in flux and who's going to be where. I like the fact that Deuce got a lot of time in the rotation today. And, man, that dude could just play defense. You know what I mean? I find it hard to see where Tom Thibodeau is going to play him, but his defense is just off the charts. You know what I'm saying? It's off the charts. He's got incredible defense. He just can't score the basketball and can't do much offensively. And I know there's been a lot of people that say, well, you got to give him a chance. Maybe he can do this or that. I don't know. You know what I mean? Again, it's the first preseason game. He played 19 minutes. If he, throughout the preseason, if he gets more time at, continues to get about 19 minutes a game or something like that throughout the preseason, then maybe we'll see his offense open up a little bit. But the defense, man, is just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we always knew that about Deuce. I mean, I think he's the type of player that Tom Thibodeau can go to in a situation, that situational word again, that we can rely on to force some turnovers for us, pick up somebody full court. Mm-hmm. We need to throw him out there. If, let's say, Jalen Brunson needs a breather, quickly you can kind of put him off the ball in that defensive situation, put McBride out there on the floor. But I think that's going to happen in situational minutes because of now the particular guard rotation that we have. Right. So, and it's unfortunate. It's just the way everything is right now. But I do see a role for Deuce McBride on this team this season.
This season?
More than situational, though.
You said
nothing more than situational.
Oh, nothing more than, I was about to say.
Yeah. Yeah, that type of role where like they throw him in at the end of the game if they need to go get a stop on a big possession and that kind of thing.
Right. And unless some kind of trade takes place, and one of these guards gets traded, then maybe you see Deuce. But right now, I couldn't say it's anything more than situational. But, man, I just love the defense. I love the defense. And hopefully, Tom Thibodeau, like Worldwide said, he gets his guys and he rocks with his guys, and nothing's going to break that rotation. Nothing's going to break it. But I would like to see him just, use guys like Deuce and in situations like we see situational to Tom Thibodeau is a little bit more like nobody else is available, you're going to play, right? I don't know if his situational is we need somebody to rough up this guard over here. I'm going to put Deuce in just to pound on him for a couple of minutes. You know what I'm saying? But I'd like to see Thibs utilize Deuce in some of those type of situations. You know what I mean? Just to play some tough defense and take somebody out of their rhythm. And foul as much as you want. You know what I mean? Put that guy on his back a couple of times. Use him use him as a goon. You know what I mean? Use him as a goon.
Or if Thibs was a little bit more creative, maybe run some boxing one on defense and have Deuce be the one.
There you go. Right. Something like that. But his defense is an asset. It's an asset. Yeah. So I'd like to see us utilize that asset. You know what I mean? Tony, any thoughts you had on the rotations that you did see?
I mean, you guys kind of covered it. Like I said, it was nice to see the the guys who we won't see any minutes from, you know what I mean, throughout the season. So it was nice to get a glimpse of them, you know what I mean? So otherwise we're going to have to watch them in the G League, you know, most of those guys. But
yeah,
I love the energy from Toppin. His jump shot looked just like his brother. You know what I mean? With the kicked out feet that he had to clean up. Love the energy. But yeah, I mean, not really to call home. So it's gonna be interesting as the games go on. Say it again.
Do you think Deuce is gonna be in the G League this year?
I think he's gonna play some games there. Yeah.
You think so? I'm just wondering. I mean this
what year is this for him? 4 or 3?
I think this is year 3.
Yeah, I think this might be his last year to play over there.
Okay.
Back, you know, back and forth, help him out, give him some stability.
Because I would think he might be more, you know, just more value, just staying with the roster.
Yeah.
You know, in case they need him, then going down to the G League, especially when you got, you know, that young guard down there that can be there and some other guys. But I guess we'll see. You know, I guess we'll see. I would like to see him on the floor a couple minutes every now and again, though. I mean,
maybe he still needs some G League minutes, Sam. Maybe he still needs it. I mean, we talk about what Deuce is not doing, why Thibs doesn't, you know, like this or about him. Maybe he needs to still go down there and continue to develop. I mean, that's what it's for, right?
Yeah, I mean, but he's been there dropping 30.
I don't think it hurts him though. That's what I mean. I think
been there dropping 30.
A guy like him, it's only gonna feed him. You know what I mean? Like certain guys will go back down there and get discouraged. To me, I feel like he's gonna go down there and lead, hone his skills. You know what I mean? And I don't think he needs to be there full time. I think he could be there, you know what I mean, in spots.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I get it. I just think, you know, with certain, you know, some players, there has to come a time when it's like you either, you know, are you good enough to be on the roster or are you just forever going to be a G League guy? You know, and this is the last year of his contract, I think, for Deuce. I think this is the last year of his contract. If I was Deuce, I wouldn't want to be in the G League. I ain't gonna lie.
They picked up his option for this year.
I
know they picked up an option. I didn't know if that was this year or next year. I thought it was for next year.
Yeah, I think so. For Deuce, this is the last year. Yeah, $1.8 million this year. This is the last year of his contract. I'm not gonna lie. If I was Deuce, I wouldn't want to go to the G League. You know what I mean? Not that there's anything wrong with the G League, but I would want to be on the roster, a player on the roster, and NBA teams look at me and say, he's a player on an NBA roster. You know what I mean? But we'll find out. We'll find out. We're starting a new segment this season called Coach's Decision. All right. And basically, it's about what decisions did Tom Thibodeau make, or any other person that's coaching the Knicks, that was impactful to the game. And when we do our post-game shows, we're going to have a few different segments up here. Right now, it's preseason, so it's like, you know, you take away from preseason game 1 and blah, 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 blah. But we'll have, like, you know, what are your critical moments of the game? What are some coaches' decisions? We'll have player and plays of the game, some things like that. All right. But coach's decision. I don't know if there were many tonight, right? Any significant coach's decision tonight. I think the biggest coach's decision tonight was the decision to experiment, right? And, you know, because in the past, we haven't seen Tom Thibodeau, even in the preseason, experiment that much with the lineup itself. You kind of knew who was there, you know, today, I guess, because, you know, you know what the starting 5 is. You know quickly. He probably knows Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart. He knows these guys and with Dante he's still learning, but you know, knows that they're going to be in the rotation. So now you have more room to experiment and play around with lineups and see what is there something new that we can do? Are there some fresh ideas out there? I think he has a little bit more flexibility in his mind to do it now than he did before. And I think we've seen that today with the way, guys are just flying in the game. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on here. And you can see the game just get, kind of discombobulated. But that's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. You know what I mean? Because you're trying out new things. You get to see the way, at some point when the game becomes discombobulated, it basically just becomes a pickup basketball game. And now you get to see guys, okay, they're just playing basketball. What can they do? You know what I mean? So I think it does benefit you, when you kind of have a foundation of players that what they can do. So now you can experiment a little bit and hopefully step outside of what you normally would do. We'll see how much it pays off for the team. Are there any coaches' decisions that you like, dislike, whatever?
I definitely got one, and that was to sit the starters and not play them heavy minutes, because that's one of those things that Thibs historically did, whether it was preseason or the regular season. So to sit these guys 6 minutes for Brunson, I'm like, oh, all right, you know what I mean? 11 for Randall, 15 for RJ. I think that was a great thing, a great coach's decision, and it allowed him to experiment with all these other lineups that we wouldn't normally see, or we haven't normally seen. So I'd say that one.
Okay. Josh?
I agree with Tony. Definitely resting the starters and not giving them, resting the important players, not giving them too many minutes, doing the whole experimenting thing. I think someone said during the broadcast on MSG that the Knicks have a week off in between today's game and the next game.
Yeah.
So our players are going to be well rested, at least for the next week or so, if Thibs doesn't kill them in practice. I think the decision to experiment, to rest some of the guys, I think was a big one. And I think that's how most coaches do it. And I'm glad Thibs has finally come around in that regard.
Yeah. That week, that week, man, Thibs better make sure they're running and staying in shape. The one thing that they commented on in the telecast is that the Knicks didn't seem to be huffing and puffing out there. You know what I mean? Which points to them being in pretty good shape. And that's always a good thing, because you want to be able to start up those first couple of games. A lot of times, it's heavy on your chest, man, because you're not used to getting out there and running. So it's a good thing. My man Mark, what's popping? Is this Mark?
What's going on, guys? It's Nick. Nick in Jersey City. How you doing?
It's Nick. My fault. I thought it was Mark. Nick, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
It's the company phone. What's up? I wanted to call in after the first preseason game for good luck for the season.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. We need it. What's your thoughts, man? Right now we're talking about coaches' decisions.
I watched the game. I thought it was good. I thought, for a preseason game, it was pretty high quality basketball. And I wonder what you guys thought about, if we got him on the books for $18 million a year, are we going to be seeing any Fournier? And it seems like Thibs at the beginning of every season, he experiments with the first 20, 30 games. He might do a 10-man rotation at the beginning of the season. Do you think Fournier can get in there as maybe the backup 3 if Hart's can be playing the backup 4? I
don't. I think the only reason why Fournier played tonight is because Josh Hart, was out.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So who do you see being that backup 4 then? You think it's gonna be? Do you think they're gonna do 10-man at the beginning, or you think he's just gonna go straight to the 9-man?
I mean, I think that you're gonna see Jericho Sims. I think he's still gonna try that out for a little while, the way he did tonight. But ultimately, I think it's gonna be Josh Hart. I think it's gonna be Josh. I think that second unit is gonna be Emmanuel Quickly, Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, and then RJ Barrett, and Isaiah Hartenstein at the center spot. I think he's going to do that.
And if Barrett, just like last year, Barrett will play with the second unit, and I could also probably see Grimes playing with the second unit too, in place of Barrett. Then Hart's at the 4, Grimes at the 3, DiVincenzo IQ or something like that. But yeah, man, I can't wait for the season to start. You know, Boston, Milwaukee got better, but I think the Knicks having the continuity coming into this year, I think you know, I think it's a 50-win team. We'll see. I said it before, and we were disappointed 2 years ago. So I don't want to jinx it, but I really think that they're going to have a better record this year.
Right, but you know, I think this team they've been one that's been able to learn, right?
Yeah,
and I think they learned from that year, right? They made the playoffs and came back the next year and didn't make the playoffs. I think they learned something from that. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that it can't happen again, but I think the focus level, they're more mature as well, right? Mitchell Robinson's more mature. Yeah. Julius Randle's more mature. They got a guard in Jalen Brunson who is mature, right? All these guys are a little bit more mature, and I think they understand a little bit better of what it takes. They're still learning a lot, but I think they're gonna work as hard as they can to not let that happen again. RJ Barrett even mentioned it in one of his interviews. You know what I mean? That, you know, the last time we made the playoffs, we didn't make it the next year. So I think they're aware of it. You know, I think they're aware of it. And they're going to battle not to let that happen again. And the fact that some of these guys are just a little older, more mature, stronger. Emmanuel Quickly's older. Emmanuel Quickly was a rookie that year. Am I right? Yeah.
No, that was his second year that they missed the playoffs.
No, I mean the year that they made the playoffs. The year that they made the playoffs, he was a rookie.
Right. The 2021, they made the playoffs, and then the next year was the Kemba Walker season
experiment and all of that. So, you know, I think these guys are more mature now. You know what I mean? And
I believe so too.
I think they're gonna work as hard as they can to not let that happen again. They're a much better basketball team than they were then. Much more chemistry. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, they're a much better team. I don't think it's going to happen again. I think they'll be in the playoffs this year, but I also think the team has it on their mind and they're going to fight it off. They're going to fight off that. You know, they're going to battle to make sure it doesn't happen.
Hope so.
Yeah. But I want to ask you this, because we're on a segment we're calling Coach's Decision, where we, you know, just kind of look at the decisions that the coach made, something that you liked, didn't like, whatever.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I like that he kind of limited the starters. You know, everybody was joking before the game, minutes restriction. That means they're only getting 35 minutes a game. Right. I knew he wasn't going to burn Brunson and Randle. You know, it was good to see that he also gave RJ that rest as well. And, you know, like, nice to see some of the guys at the end of the bench get some burn on Madison Square Garden, you know. But, you know, not to be cruel here. It kind of shows sometimes why they're at the end of the bench, you know. Not all these guys are going to make the team, obviously. It was good to see Obi's brother get a nice dunk.
Yeah. Good. It was fun to see him out there.
And a nice block.
And you know what? I did listen to Tom Thibodeau. I don't know if, you know, I don't want to start something, but, you know, I was listening to Tom Thibodeau and they were asking him about Jacob Toppin and, you know, about how his game is just a little bit different from Obi's. And, you know, he said, listen, right now Jacob is a little bit behind on the offensive side, you know, where Obi had it, you know, kind of had a little bit more offensively than Jacob. He said, but the guy got it on the defensive side. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So I don't know if it was, you know, basically saying Obi didn't have it on the defensive side. You got to listen to the interview. You know what I mean? It kind of felt like, you know, it was in the conversation there a little bit, you know, but he did say he thinks Jacob Toppin has it on the defensive side and his offensive side of his game has to pick up, or not pick up, but has to develop. You know, so we'll see.
What's the deal with this Washington Jr. guy, number 4? Wasn't he like not a really good player, but wasn't he a rotation piece somewhere, like just last season?
He played with I forgot who he played with last season. I did a show about him a few weeks ago too. I forgot who he played with, but you know he had a couple of big games last year. I forgot who it was, but he had a couple of big games, I think, last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, you know, the Knicks have too many guards. So I don't see a future for him with the Knicks right now. But, he, maybe someone will see him and figure that they got to, they need him or whatever it is. With the with the Suns last year. That's what I thought. Yeah, he played some minutes with the Suns. Averaged about 12.7 minutes per game. Averaged 8 points a game. 36% from the field. 36% from the 3-point line.
Yeah, I mean, it just says a lot about the Knicks' depth. That a guy like that who was playing with the Phoenix Suns last year is probably not even going to make the team. You know what I mean?
Right.
We got a lot of depth, and I think any team with Brunson on it is not gonna slip too far. For too long. They might go through slumps this season, but they're gonna just like they did last year. But they always bounce back. Last year they had a couple of five game losing streaks, but they'd always come back with a 5-game winning streak.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So hopefully, I think that they're very resilient.
Yeah. Hopefully they can ward off those losing streaks this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hopefully they can ward them off. Listen, the Knicks won 47 games last year. They started off the season below 500, and then they figured out a way to pick it up throughout the season. Hopefully they can have a strong start to the season. I'm gonna tell you what, they got a challenging schedule at the beginning of the season, so they need to come in ready. You know what I mean? But Nick, I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate the time, man.
Take care, guys.
Take care. Bye. Have a good one. Last thing before we get out of here and head over to the Losers Lounge. Any takeaways from tonight's game? Any takeaways?
I mean, we already spoke about most of them for me. Y'all already know where I stand as far as how the Knicks are going to run their offense. We are going to have to depend a lot on Jalen Brunson. We're still, again, first preseason game, so I'm not going to go too far off on the whole Lauren from Cali rant, but it's a lot of the same with me. Got to be able to knock our shots down in the half court. If we're not doing that, we got to depend on people who are strong ball handlers and strong pull-up games to bail us out in situations. We have Jalen Brunson, we have Emmanuel quickly, but someone else has to step up in that role. Someone else also, along with those two. Yeah. Outside of that, Julius Randle looks in phenomenal shape. He looks like the big dog. He's the big dog in that locker room, right? And I think a lot of players are respecting him a lot more. They see the work he's put in the offseason for his body. And I think he's really taken that next step as far as gaining that respect around the league, I think, Julius Randle is. And I think he's poised to have another All-NBA season. I think that's what's going to happen. Hopefully Jalen Brunson can join him. But I think Julius Randle's poised to have barring anything unforeseen, I think he's poised to have that. Jalen Brunson still looks great. And Sam, I agree with you also. I think what we said in one of the previous podcasts, that I think there might be a big trade coming because there's just too much of a glut at the guard spot, in my opinion. Too much redundancy. I think the Knicks are setting themselves up to make a move. I don't know what that's going to be, but I think that's pretty much how they're looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And Julius Randle was definitely rocking those Skechers today. I'm just saying, he was definitely rocking them Skechers. I made sure. I was like, let me peep the shoe game just to be sure. Yeah, he had them on. He definitely had them on. Tony, any takeaways for you?
You know who else was looking like they in shape, best shape of their life? Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson looking like he wasn't skipping no leg days. He wasn't skipping no leg days this summer. And I think that's gonna be a wonderful surprise if he could, duplicate. I'm gonna just say 65 games or more. You know what I mean, and see if he could get himself eligible for an award or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
10.7 rebounds, 3 block shots for Mitch tonight. Yeah, Mitch definitely looked big, strong. You know what I'm saying?
Say it again, Sam.
I said he looked big.
10.7 rebounds tonight?
10.7 rebounds, 3 blocks.
21 minutes.
21 minutes, 22 minutes, something like that.
How can you have 10.7 rebounds in one game? I'm confused.
Huh?
You said 10.7 rebounds tonight? How can you have 0.7 rebounds?
10
points.
Period.
7 rebounds.
Sorry. My bad. My bad. I thought you said 10.7 rebounds.
Oh boy, it's late. It's late. It's late.
We in preseason 4, right?
He had me confused for a second. I'm like, what you mean? How can he have that in one game? That's not impossible. It's not Wilt Chamberlain numbers. Nah, but Mitch looked like, yeah. He looked big. I was like, wow, look at him. You know what I mean? Hopefully that's, and remember in the I don't know,
a year ago.
Yeah, but in the Queens Court tonight, we were talking about the Atlantic Division, and we were talking about Mitchell Rock. We were talking about the 76ers. And one of the matchups I said I'd like to see, I really want to see is how can Mitchell Robinson, can he defend, can he deal with a Joel Embiid? And when you look at the size of Mitch tonight, it's like, he might not be getting pushed around at all. You know what I'm saying? With the size that it looks like he put on. So, that's a good thing. That's a real good thing for the Knicks. And I think they said in the telecast that Quentin Grimes had said, Mitchell Robinson might be the most important player on this team.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Right. Because of the things that he does. We'll see. But, Mitch looked good tonight. He looked pretty good. Obviously, you know who they were playing against, but he still looked good tonight.
And it makes sense that for a Tom Thibodeau team, I think Tom Thibodeau loves that rebounding down there and that big presence down there. So I think for Thibs, I think that might be the most important piece for the Knicks for what he wants to do from a philosophical perspective. Yeah,
no doubt. Well, ladies and gentlemen, preseason game number 1 in the books. The Knicks don't play again until Saturday, so they have this entire week off to look at film, figure some things out, try to get a game that looks a little bit more under control. Tonight was, all kinds of stuff happening and going on. There was some good stuff. I thought I saw some good things. But a lot of things, a lot of stuff was out of control sometimes. But you should expect that in a preseason game, I think.
What time they play Saturday?
I think it's 7:30. They play Minnesota on Saturday. So it could be 7. Could be 7.
Catch the tail end, the second half.
I'll say this. If your team looks perfect in preseason, you're playing your guys 25 to 30 minutes, and they look really, really good, and they're still struggling to win games, your team probably has an issue, right? Because you're like, wow, we're in preseason playing, looking good, but we're struggling to win when the other teams aren't even playing their best players. If you're in preseason and things look a little bit crazy because you're trying to figure out who's going to be in your rotation, you're playing some guys who, may or may not make the roster, that's probably what you want. You know what I'm saying? Because that means that, I think it does mean that you have some things settled and, you feel like you have a good basketball team. So now you're trying to figure out some of these other pieces and you're trying to experiment a little bit and stuff like that. So, I think, could be some good things. Hopefully they can build upon it. Game 4 is supposed to be that dress rehearsal, though. That's the game that we're looking at. Who do they play game 4?
I don't know who we play, but I know that's the second of a back-to-back. The NBA scheduled the preseason weird. So the Knicks have a back-to-back for that third and that fourth game of the preseason. I don't know who's against though.
So do you guys have a problem with back-to-backs in the preseason?
Yeah.
You do?
I don't, because if this is supposed to prep you for the season and you're going to have to deal with that in the season, then why not have a back-to-back prep?
That's kind of how I feel.
I guess I can see where you're coming from with that, Tony. It's not like, and we can always adjust the lineups and put those situational players out there anyway for one of them. So, I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
So, you're right.
Right,
you're
right. And not even about, like, the players playing, but just, as an organization, how are we operating on a back-to-back? How are we doing things? You know what I mean? So I do think that's good practice. The Knicks play Minnesota Timberwolves Saturday, October the 14th at 7:30. Yep, that's the next game. Then after that, they play, I think the next game is like the 18th, the 17th or the 18th. Yeah, they play the Boston Celtics on the 17th. And then on the 18th, they play the Washington Wizards. Yep, so.
And then we start the season off against the Celtics.
Start the season off against the Boston Celtics. Yeah. There we go. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm up out of here. We have the Losers Lounge coming up at about 12:30, maybe 12:35. We're going to get things set up. All right. As soon as this stream goes off, it's going to take you to the Losers Lounge. So you can jump into the chat and start talking, having a discussion, whatever it is that you want to do. All right. And we're going to be getting things set up, and we'll be over there in about 25 minutes. All right. We appreciate your time, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get up out of here. Big shout out to the Knicks for the win tonight. Big shout out to you all for being here. Peace.
This is 10.7. Nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.